Aurelia Kane had learned early that power came with a price, and she paid it in silence, late nights, and distance. She built an empire from nothing, turned code into capital, and became the kind of woman people whispered about in boardrooms. But somewhere along the way, she forgot how to sit still, how to laugh without checking her phone, how to look her daughter in the eye without seeing the next meeting on her calendar. Tonight, Mira sat across from her in the back of the town car, small hands folded in her lap, staring out the city lights. She was 9 years old and already knew better than to ask her mother to stay home. Aurelia had promised her dinner at the Solaris Lounge, the kind of place where reservations took months and the chandeliers cost more than most people's cars. It was supposed to be special. But even now, Aurelia's mind was elsewhere, running through quarterly projections and investor calls. When they arrived, the hostess greeted them with practiced elegance and led them to the dining room to the VIP section, a glassed-in space overlooking the city. Aurelia barely noticed the other guests. She was already thinking about the presentation she'd give on Monday. But Mira noticed everything. Her eyes landed on a table near the window, where a boy about her age sat with his father. The boy was grinning, spinning his fork like a baton, and his father was laughing, really laughing, the kind that made his whole face light up. The father wore a flannel shirt with the sleeves rolled up, and there was a grease stain on his collar. He probably didn't know it was there. He didn't belong in a place like this. That much was obvious. "Mom," Mira whispered, tugging Aurelia's sleeve. "Can we sit with them?" Aurelia followed her daughter's gaze and frowned. The man looked tired but kind, his hands calloused and rough. The boy had the same wild brown hair, the same easy smile. They were out of place, but they didn't seem to care. "Mira, we have our own table," Aurelia said gently. "Please." Myra's voice was soft, but there was something desperate in it, something Aurelia hadn't heard in a long time. She hesitated. Then, against every instinct that told her to keep her distance, to stay in control, she nodded. The hostess looked horrified when Aurelia requested to move, but she didn't argue. Moments later, Aurelia and Mira stood beside the table where the man and his son sat. The man looked up, startled. "I'm sorry to interrupt," Aurelia said, her voice cool but not unkind. "My daughter would like to sit with you, if that's all right." The man blinked, then smiled. It was a kind of smile that came easy, like he'd never had to practice it. "Of course," he said. "I'm Rowan. This is my son, Theo." Theo waved enthusiastically. Mira smiled, a real smile, and Aurelia felt something twist in her chest. They sat down, and within minutes, Mira and Theo were talking like old friends. Rowan watched them with quiet pride, occasionally interjecting with a joke or a story. He worked as a bicycle mechanic, he explained, and tonight was special because Theo had won a school contest. They'd been given a gift certificate to the Solaris Lounge by mistake, meant for someone else. But Rowan figured they'd earned a nice dinner anyway. Aurelia watched him as he spoke. He was patient with Theo, the kind of father who listened more than he talked. He didn't check his phone. He didn't glance at the time. He was just there, fully present, in a way Aurelia couldn't remember being in years. "You're really good with him," she said quietly. Rowan shrugged. "He's a good kid. Makes it easy." "It's more than that." Aurelia's voice was softer now. "You make time for him." Rowan looked at her, and for a moment, she felt exposed. "Time's all we've got," he said simply. "Everything else is just noise." Before Aurelia could respond, the hostess appeared, her expression tight with disapproval. She leaned close to Rowan and spoke in a low, clipped voice. "Sir, I need to inform you that this section is reserved for VIP guests. I'm afraid there's been a mistake." Rowan's smile faltered. He glanced at Theo, who had gone quiet. Aurelia felt something sharp and hot rise in her chest. "There's no mistake," she said, her voice cutting through the air like glass. "He's my guest." The hostess froze. "Ms. Kane, Is there a problem?" Aurelia's gaze was ice. "No, ma'am. My apologies." The hostess retreated quickly, and the table fell silent. Rowan looked at Aurelia with something close to wonder. "You didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did," she said. But then, without warning, the room tilted. Aurelia's vision blurred, and her breath came in short, shallow gasps. She tried to stand, but her legs wouldn't hold her. The noise of the restaurant faded into a dull roar. Aurelia. Rowan's voice was calm, steady. His hand was on her shoulder, grounding her. Look at me. Just breathe. In and out. Slow. She focused on his face, on the kindness in his eyes, and gradually, the world came back into focus. Her breathing evened out. The panic receded. I'm fine, she whispered, but her hands were shaking. No, you're not, Rowan said gently. And that's okay. The staff moved quickly, ushering them to a private room. Aurelia sat down, humiliated, exhausted. Rowan sat beside her, quiet and patient. You're running yourself into the ground, he said after a while. I don't know you, but I know that look. You're carrying too much. Aurelia closed her eyes. I don't have a choice. There's always a choice. She wanted to argue, but she couldn't, because deep down, she knew he was right. The next morning, Aurelia learned that someone had recorded her collapse. Her CFO, Marcus, had leaked a video to the board, calling for an emergency vote to remove her as CEO. He claimed she was unfit to lead. She should have been furious. Instead, she felt numb. When Rowan called to check on her, she told him everything. He didn't offer empty reassurances. He just listened. And then he said, "Let me come with you." She almost laughed. "You don't have to do that." "I know," he said, "but I want to." At the board meeting, Marcus played the video with smug confidence. The room was silent. Aurelia stood, her heart pounding, and told the truth. She told him about the stress, the sleepless nights, the mistakes she'd made. She didn't hide. She didn't pretend. And then Rowan spoke. He wasn't polished or rehearsed. He just told them what he'd seen, a woman who cared so much about her work that she'd forgotten to care for herself. He told them that strength wasn't about never falling. It was about getting back up. The board voted. Marcus lost. Weeks later, Aurelia sat in her office, staring at a photo on her desk. It was new. Mira and Theo at the park, laughing. Rowan beside them, his hand on her shoulder. She'd started taking weekends off. She'd started saying no. And slowly, carefully, she was learning how to be present. Rowan had taught her that, not with grand gestures, but with small, steady kindness. And for the first time in years, Aurelia felt like she could breathe.